Hey, everybody, and welcome to the $1 Billion Banker podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Perrone, and today I have with me the real Greg Sly. Greg, welcome to the pod. Thank you for coming. He's bringing the energy today, and I'm so excited to talk to Greg about his background in commercial real estate. Greg is licensed in New Jersey with partnerships across the country, in and outside of his brokerage. And today, he's here to talk to us about a few of his superpowers that he's developed. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have him here today is because the superpowers that he generates, you could feel it through the phone. You could feel it when you meet him. And I know you guys are going to feel it today. But a couple things that he takes pride in right here is that he's able to connect the dots on a business level and a personal level that a lot of people can't really do. And I've seen it with my own eyes. He's able to quickly find out who can elevate his client's business, which is important, very well connected. And he also is getting his clients to basically truly open up about what their goals are, which is critical, right? He's not just kind of coming in and selling them something. And then last but not least, he truly has an abundant mindset, which is huge. We're on the $1 Billion Banker podcast. Billions to me means abundance. And it is extremely rare to find nowadays, which we spoke about. And the topic today that Greg's going to talk about, which I'm really excited to hear about, is how he's collaborating with like-minded and successful people in the real estate industry to help open up opportunities that only others could dream of. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be so much fun.
And I'm sorry I busted in on you there in the dressing room.
Hey, it's all good. I was close. So
you were, and it's up on Instagram already. So good thing you were, because this would have gone viral for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons, but it's a reason, right?
It is. Hey, anything that we can do to get our audience's attention here, right?
Exactly.
But no, I'm really excited to hear about your story today. And I want our audience to learn about what you've done to open up all these doors and to create this incredible network. So tell us about what you're doing in that space.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I've actually been watching you for quite some time now. So
awesome.
Now I'm actually here.
He's here.
This is awesome. So I've been trying to get into the commercial space because I was always told you're either residential or commercial. Mm-hmm. But now the new wave is coming through that now realtors are going to be both the residential side and the commercial space.
Amen.
And there is the few of us that are coming through, and then by going through different networking events and talking to people and just opening up and being like authentic, mm-hmm. and having that abundance mindset I was telling mm-hmm. you about, and mm-hmm. that I'm not greedy. And so like mm-hmm. I will 100% just do like 50-50 on a deal, or mm-hmm. hey, as long as I'm a little bit in the deal to get the job done, mm-hmm. to help the client, I'm okay. And so other people say, well, I want to use you because of the opportunities you're able to get from there.
Yeah.
And I'm also not losing money off of opportunities. Yeah. And again, it's all about finding the right tribe, mm-hmm. and then elevating and rising together.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. And I love that you talk about authenticity, because some people that you'll get out into these networking environments and you're kind of like a shell of yourself to some extent. I think meeting you, I could feel your authenticity.
Thank you.
Your genuine care for what you do and your excitement for what you do. So
I love it.
Yeah, you love it. I could feel it.
24/7, and I can't shake it off.
And by the way, like the market right now, I think allows for there's the time to do both now, right? There's the time to help a couple residential clients and to really focus in on your businesses and your self-employed people that are looking to buy commercial real estate, let's say, or just your investors.
100%.
So, let's take it back to COVID times, because we saw the commercial world get kind of destroyed. I was telling you before, I was in Manhattan at the time watching everybody reduce office space, and now there's a comeback. So tell us what you're seeing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the office space is still kind of not doing the best, mm-hmm. but these big developers are coming in and actually doing some really cool things to the office space, or even like those big malls, like from Sears and other things, and repurposing them, mm-hmm. and doing a higher and best use of that land, mm-hmm. to a multi-fam situation, or as what we're going to be seeing a huge influx, mm-hmm. Of like Netflix coming through and repurposing the land that was on a base, for instance.
Yes.
And just how can you reimagine that space that was already currently used for X to see how we can use Y for the better of the city that we're in, or trying to bring more higher and clientele or
Right.
businesses to come through here.
To come in.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
'Cause-
it's like a transition. It's like
100%.
now we need space. We were talking earlier about open AI, and now they're putting down some office routes in New York, 90,000 square feet of space, and you were telling me about a little bit about like what they're using that for. What were you saying?
Absolutely. So these data centers, they're needing to have a lot more of them because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
AI uses so much power. So you need to have these big data centers to actually generate everything for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these bigger players coming into the state, we need to have data centers. And so there's only certain places in the state that you're able to actually put a data center in. You can't just go and drop into Cranford, for instance, or Westfield. You need to have it already kind of the infrastructure there, because some of these big data centers, they take about 80,000 or more power of homes.
Wow.
Is what they kind of like suck in.
Wow.
So if you're in a city, that's gonna be a lot of trickle down effect. That's not gonna be good. So you need it into different rural areas, which is one of the coolest parts about New Jersey. You go from south of like there is like cows everywhere and like pastures, and all the way up to the north, which is like everybody is like on top of each other. And everywhere in between, and you have like the shore.
Yeah, you could go from like a farm to the beach to the city in like
an hour or less.
Exactly.
Which is great.
I love that. Not like your home state, California. It takes 10 hours to get from one side to the other.
Or more. Yeah, absolutely.
But the weather's good, so.
Oh, God, I miss it.
Yeah. But we were talking, we have an amazing October out here in New Jersey. It's a great time of year to be showing houses and
100%.
real estate when it's still nice like this. We were also talking about corporate retreats. Like they're coming back, and hotels are now really banking on that business. Because I just actually got back from a sales rally with Cross Country Mortgage. Got my hat on today. What do you think about that space? You're working with some hotels now too, right?
Oh, yeah. There is a lot of off-market opportunities right now. I'm getting a couple of my big clients in. They're doing at least 30 of these hotels, and they're always right now into the buying mode. And some of the bigger players, they're actually selling off some of their hotels right now because they're getting ready for something coming up in the near future. And so they're helping me kind of figuring out what is going to be the next like 2 to 3 steps ahead of some other people.
Okay, I like
that.
So,
it's all about
So you're
connecting.
not going to tell us the secret right now. We're not going to get it from him.
Really? Maybe another podcast.
Maybe another episode. We're going to get it from him. That would be good.
Absolutely.
But that's cool. It's nice to see like I think the return to work is kind of, maybe it's for some people, I think it's just been there. For other people, we were talking about before, like, you know, your office is wherever your cell phone is.
100%.
It's wherever your computer is. Like, that's it now. And that's true. And I love that. But I think one of the things that you're talking about is when you talk about like your mindset and shifting gears and doing all kinds of business and being everywhere you need to be.
Yeah.
That's what business is about, right? I mean, that's what we have to be ready to move and change at any time.
Absolutely. I always feel like the most, you have to be almost like fluid. You can't be in one specific spot and think this is all I'm going to do and this is what, because the market shifts so much. Like,
so fast.
What happened in 2019 to 2020? And then each cycle is a little different, and then your client's going to be different. The opportunities that you're going to be getting is going to be different than what you have to always be adapting and pivoting and think outside the box to show the best value to your clientele.
Yeah. And obviously this is a big part of like from a networking perspective. Like, tell us about how are you really building upon those relationships when you have these opportunities and you're kind of showing off those superpowers you have? How are you developing rapport and building relationships after you're in these opportunity zones with people?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be going out to other events, going out to drinks, coffee, the dinners, or hey, let's go grab golf. And go to play around a golf and just try to be outside of a little bit of work to get more of a deeper level. So that's kind of comes back from like my background before real estate.
Yes. Talk to us about that. Cause this is perfect for real estate here with the patience level, right?
Yeah. It's, I have a higher level of patience, which is great right now, especially in the real estate game. Cause, we have to have that. So I was a behavioral specialist working with autistic and emotionally disturbed kids from age around 2 years old, and then adults up to about 28.
Wow.
Doing in-home therapy at school, after-school programs, ran my own business.
Yeah.
I was in it for about 12 years.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was
very
awesome.
rewarding, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Because it takes it's a special person to kind of be able to handle that. I mean, I have a meltdown when like I'm doing homework with my 7-year-old. So
oh
I don't
God,
know. Yeah. I'm like, he's like, how, like, it's like, write a story for this equation and based on like the apples and the blueberries. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, we're going to start with Jet has 8 blueberries. He's like, I don't want to write Jet. I'm like, well, what other names do you know how to spell? I don't want to write Jet. I'm like, okay. My patience is gone. I can't do this.
It's out the window.
I'm done.
Tap out.
Yeah. That's when my fiance will come in and tap me out and be like, listen, you just don't have the patience for this. So how do you feel like that translates into real estate?
Yeah, it's because
with your clients specifically. Yeah.
Every transaction is going to be different, of course, but you always will have hiccups throughout any type of transaction. Even in the smoothest transaction, you're going to have some type of hiccup. And the buyer or seller, or hopefully not the realtor, but there's going to be heightened emotions. And so if you can stay level-headed and be neutral, and so you can kind of calm people down, again, try to figure out what is the root cause of why you're elevated for your emotions. How can I best assist you with what you're going through? And just kind of almost like hold your hand, look at me, we're going to breathe.
Right.
We got this. Our goal is to go here. We have a little hiccup, but I already have this already locked in 3 steps ahead of you. So we're going to go over this one. If that doesn't work, we have other ones down the line to get to the same goal. I got you. This is all about value and how I could best support you. And so that's what I've been doing for the last handful of years.
And that's such an incredible skill set to be able to do that, because not everyone can. I think about like myself as a leader with mortgage bankers. Sometimes when they call me and they're just hot about something's happening. You have to try not to like absorb that energy, right?
Exactly.
And so like, do you consider yourself an empath? Like, how do you break down that barrier between not letting that emotional energy come into your space?
It was tough. Like for the first probably 6 to 7 years in the behavioral world, like I broke down crying in my car after a bunch of these really tough cases, but like they're so amazing.
Yeah.
And so you always kind of bring things back home. And after time, I kind of almost like it's like a muscle you just kind of work out. And over time, you learn to go deep, but then also have a barrier to be like, I'm not letting it go to that level to bring home.
It's not going that deep.
No, exactly. It goes deep enough so I can help you.
Right.
So we can actually get on the same level.
Right. Accomplish something.
Exactly. Like we're here.
Right. We were to feel what we feel, then we got to move on and we got to figure out how to solve it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and tell us about your social media, man. You've been like really going full steam ahead. You've invested a lot in this, and that's a part of your networking strategy, right?
Absolutely.
Is social media. So tell us about what you're doing in that space.
Yeah. So, in the beginning, I was very like didn't want to be in front of a camera, but I was told in the very beginning, the way to actually market yourself is you need to put yourself out there. And I didn't like how I looked, how I sounded, everything. I'm a goofy guy. And so I just kind of started playing around with it. Cool. And then the beginning of this year, I said, I've tried this out for a couple of years. Let's go full out and actually hire someone. Julian, I love you.
Julian, shout out to Julian.
So he's helped me to kind of curate a higher level of production and everything. So it's kind of puts me into a better picture and showing what I can do to provide value. And some people are definitely vibing what I'm throwing out there, which is great because it's another way for my marketing.
You've had some pretty big hits too on some of your videos, huh?
Just a little bit.
What's the best kind of engagement you've gotten?
Over 1 million views.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How the heck did that happen? Tell us what's the video about?
So it is about a new H mark coming in to the dream, American Dream up north, and so we got a little access to it. High energy, quick, gave you some information, and then everybody starts like throwing it out. And same thing with like I did a downtown with Touchin'.
Yeah.
So I always want to kind of also trying to figure out how to highlight a downtown because by doing that, it's like a quadruple like down because show people on the residential side and the commercial side what's going on down there.
Yeah.
And by doing that video, I actually landed a commercial client.
That's incredible.
And that got over like 550 something views.
And so would you say, because I mean, look, there's people that have been doing content forever, including myself, that have never gotten to that point where they've had like tons of views, right? Millions of views is like, that's incredible. That's like, what are the chances, right?
Oh,
if we were to Google that right now, like,
I
hey,
thought
Siri,
it'd be
what
like
are the
10,000
chances?
views would be amazing, but like
a
million?
Yeah,
What?
that's
No
incredible.
way.
That's really incredible. So so high energy, obviously, you were giving something of value, you were educating people. And I think that's like where most of this goes, right? Is into that space. Like,
absolutely.
You could, because now did you get those views on Instagram or TikTok?
I'm mostly on Instagram.
Okay.
That's where I found out. That's where my circle, my tribe is basically on. And so I go to wherever my tribe is.
Right.
I definitely need to get better on the TikTok and YouTube and LinkedIn and all the other spots.
Because they say TikTok's like the new Google, right? Like people are Googling to find information.
100%.
Instead of Googling, they're going to TikTok.
Yeah. Like I know I definitely got to do the YouTube for sure because that's the largest search engine in the video space out there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But yeah,
that's why one thing I disagree with Elon Musk on is creating a new search engine that's different than Google, because I just don't think search engines are going to be as relevant as they were anymore. I think people are using social, and I think they're using AI more than they're using Google right now. So
100%. Like I barely use Google. It's going to be social media. It's going to be YouTube. And that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, I love that. So now tell us about how you're connecting the dots with your clients, right? You're opening up these networks.
Yes.
You're going out there, you're meeting people, you're building rapport, you're staying in touch. How are you connecting the dots for your clients and finding them opportunities? Is there any great stories you could share with us there?
Yeah, like there's so many different stories. So my whole thing is to try to grab as much data from everybody that I possibly can. And then I input it into my spreadsheet and I start just grabbing all this information. And so every time I go out into either an event or anything of that sort, and I'm going to meet a lot of people or even a few, I'm going to refresh my memory of what other people are either looking for or have. And so I have them really fresh in my mind. So when I come in,
what's available?
Because you keep your ears open, people start talking about what's going on, and you can chime in and say, "Hey, I actually know someone," and people are like, "How the heck do you know this?" There's a system to my madness. Yeah, that people are like, I don't know how'd you remember all this? Right. I'm like, more often than not, I don't remember. Yep. It's my systems that I have already written down. Right. But I have a way to keep my ears open. I talk less. I hear more.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think doing these podcasts have helped me with that a little bit, but it's still, especially if you're kind of like a naturally outgoing person and conversational, it's kind of hard sometimes to just listen. And it's probably one of the best skills you could have in the networking world.
Oh, absolutely correct. Yeah.
And there, I was in a B&I group for a long time. We were talking about this before, and their motto there is like givers gain. And I kind of feel like that's kind of how the podcasting goes. Like I give, and
which, by the way, thank you so much.
Collectively gain. Yeah, but you know what? Like to have someone that's gotten to the point where you're gonna do great things online. I already know. So pretty soon I'm gonna be thanking him for once he's got 1 million followers. Bringing me, hey, remember me from the $1 billion banker? Be like, who's this girl? I don't even know her. I don't even know. He's like 100 podcasts in or something. But no, your energy and your mindset, right? We were talking about that before. One of your superpowers. How do you keep an abundant mindset? How do you stay in that space?
That you in this space, especially, there's something called commission breath. So everybody's always trying to go keep things for themselves because it's more money and everything. I'm all about relationships and doing more deals than the commission side of things. So the abundance mindset is, so there's so much money out there and transactions that people don't even, there's people doing deals nonstop.
Yeah.
And if you just get a sliver of that,
Mm-hmm.
that can change your life and your kids or your family's life 1000%. So, and also
there's enough
people,
for everybody.
Yeah. And people want to do business with people that they love or like and trust.
Yeah.
And you're going to get things that you don't even know 6 months, a year down the line, because you were in that mindset. Because people, it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do something that's rare, you stand out.
Right.
And again, it's another, I don't do things willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
I play a very, very multi-layered chess game that I love it. I'm 24/7 in it. And how can I win this game of life to help support myself, my family, and the ones that I love?
Love that. That's a great mission statement right there too, because you know, people might be thinking as they're listening, like, well, how do I get people to like me? And I think you said it before, like listening is one of those ways, like genuinely listening, understanding who people are. You know, we were talking about you have 2 young children and what your wife does. And I think like, you know, people need to feel that it's about more than just business. And I think like as time goes on, you get older, your social circle is really your business. Your business. Well, yeah, you don't know. Maybe I just don't look like I'm 57, but no, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I'm like, oh my God. What is the secret? What's the secret?
That might go viral. Maybe we should just keep going with that. Yeah, I just turned 57.
Golly, great.
I know, but really your social circle is your business.
Yes.
Your business people. It's the people you work with every day. Like you might talk to them, hear from them, see them more than you sometimes see your family. And so I've always said, like, at this point in my career, like, I want to love who I work with. I want to be able to like go tell them a joke, you know, come to their family party, have them come to mine. And, you know, it's cool to watch the evolution of relationships in business in that way.
Absolutely. That's when you know when you won the game of life.
Yeah.
That you're able to do a bunch of deals with the people you love, making the money to do like to make sure that everybody around you's happy and secure. Like that's in health, of course.
Yeah.
Too.
Right. Yep. We need that.
So like having all that, like that's how you're going to win.
No doubt. No doubt. And so now tell me about some of your projects that you have we talked about the hotel stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're working on some other cool things too. And your team, like I think I met your partner, right?
Yep.
Tell us about how your team's set up and what other things you guys have kind of been seeing or working on.
Yeah. So we're basically as a small team that is very specific on where we're targeting. And then we help each other to close those deals or able to open up other connections to better serve those clients.
That's great.
So we have higher network of people without sharing a whole bunch of information because of NDAs and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some really big things that are coming through that we're almost like Navy SEALs. You come to us and we will 100% be getting those things done basically because of the opportunities that we have in front of us that we've been working with our circle of people for such a long time that they're gonna, hey, we need X, Y, and Z. They're going to help us out.
What do you think about overall, like, what's just your personal opinion about, like, if someone's out there today listening and they have money to invest, like, do you think commercial real estate is a better investment than residential, or do you think they're both just very different?
It's very different because it's like, what is your goal for the next like 1 to 2 years, 5 to 10? Are you looking for like a 20-year play? Like, because in the commercial space right now, like we are going to be seeing a very big shift. And so, but at the same time, getting into the commercial space, depending on the kind of deal, you need a lot of money up front, or I don't know. I think I know a really good lender that could help out. Maybe
I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
I'm here, guys. The 57-year-old.
She's so good. She's so good. So
well, that's cool. You have to have the right team around all of this stuff for clients. And so, because if you are a client out there and you're listening to this and you're like thinking about investing, know that it's a process. Like we hold your hand through, similar to how you keep your clients calm that are already customers. Like we kind of keep this process in the beginning really calm and slow, and you explain the process to a customer, and we see each step of the way what you can do. I mean, I've always find like the mixed use space really interesting. Like when thinking about, commercial in general, like I love, 2-3, retail residential places up top and like a little commercial store down below. I love that mix, but it's got to be in the right area.
100% that has to be in that right space, but like you also have to have the right stomach for your investment too.
Yeah,
because on social media, for instance, everybody has the glamour and how amazing it is. You have the rate of return; it's gonna be amazing,
no doubt.
But there is a dark side that you don't know, and so that's what really good realtors will also show you. By the way, here's what to look out for. Do you have the stomach for it? Yeah. And if not, there's going to be a lot less risk involved, but not the higher returns. There's a balancing act. It's the same thing of any investment that you're going to be doing. Yeah. How risky do you want, and how low of a risk do you want to be?
Absolutely.
And so you have to figure out what's their tolerance and what is their game plan. Because maybe right now it's actually single family just to get into the real estate. Yeah. And then once it pops a little bit, you use the equity to jump to a multifamily. Something else. Or then, hey, you know what? I actually prefer a commercial space because I want to start my own company. Right. Whatever you want to do.
Here's what we're going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's a game play.
I met a guy that, and I've been saying this on the podcast, like he was on our podcast, Ernesto Calari. He has a really cool company where they do geofencing. I don't know if you've heard of geofencing, but especially for businesses that are looking to open up spaces, it can tell you what the habits are of the people all around that area and what they're going to do, and if they have the propensity to maybe, whatever your business is, to purchase within your location or visit. So that's pretty cool. Like the technology can really help you facilitate, is retail space, does it make sense in this world? Does it not make sense?
Absolutely.
So, when we spoke about you coming on, right, and we talked about how you're collaborating with like-minded people, how do you know, like, who not to collaborate with? Like, how do you know when someone's not like-minded?
Pretty quickly. So within probably 5 to 10 minutes or less, I will have a inkling of like, this is not the right person, or be like, yo, dude, like, or like, wow, we're already having the same mindset or the same way of thinking, or we have overlap of relationships. Because that's also a big thing of like, if I know Joe, Sally, Sue, and you also know Joe or whatever, like, and so I already like them, know them, trust them. Yeah. They already like and know and trust them. It's like, all right, that's another verification of like, we could probably do something together. But if something is completely off and I get a weird feeling, my gut is usually right. Yeah. Which, by the way, I would highly suggest always trusting your gut. Yeah. Because it usually tells you where you should be going or not go.
Yeah. So that's a good point. That's in business and in life, right? Like, don't discredit that feeling that you have if something's there off. Or not. Yeah. If
Absolutely.
Something's off. So what's the exit strategy? You're in the middle of that conversation with that person and you're like, this is just not the person. So like, do you have like a set exit strategy plan that you could help us with? Like, what do you do?
So you would grab when you're on the phone, you'd be like, oh my God, I am so sorry. My seller is calling me right now. I'll call you right back.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that happens quite some time. That is a little thing that us realtors
I really don't want to cut you off, but
exactly. But I'm so sorry. We'll talk back, and then you don't reach back. They don't reach back. This kind of fizzles out.
What's the follow-up look like? I think a lot of people sometimes are nervous about, and you haven't been in real estate for 100 years, right? But you've been in it long enough.
99
years. But you've been in it long enough, right? So it's like, how do you? A lot of people are kind of scared of that next step, that follow-up step. So like, they're great at what they do. They put themselves in great opportunities. But I think most people would even like agree that a lot of times people don't follow up after events. Like,
oh my God,
let me ask you this. The last event we went to together, did anyone call you after that event?
No, but guess what?
You didn't call anyone either?
I did.
Okay.
I'm actually going to preface that. I do not call them.
Okay.
So I do one better. So I do a video.
Oh.
So I actually do a little, maybe about 20 seconds. And I say, It was so great meeting you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember, I take notes usually after I meet someone brand new.
Okay.
Once I was, oh, it's so great to meet you, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, Dan, he talked about X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to myself as a text
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And
I
at
love
the
that.
at the end, the next morning,
Mm-hmm.
I basically pull out and say, how many people did I do?
Mm-hmm.
What did they like? What did we talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back into that video and I talk about what we already talked about. And I say, again, it was so great meeting you.
That's
it's
unforgettable.
It's like a personal touch
Right.
that not a lot of people do.
Right.
And I learned it from my wonderful friend, Ed Stulak.
We're giving a lot of shout outs here. You're lucky we don't have sponsorships yet, but coming soon. All these shout. Anyone else you want to shout out before?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right.
But so like
that's cool. That's a great lesson. And so you go
huge.
back the day after that event,
Yep.
and you're in that morning because a lot of things. Another thing that happens to people too is like they have 3 events in a week, and like before you know it, a whole week went by. They didn't get to follow up with anyone. So you make sure that you have that discipline in your practice that the day after you're doing these videos and you're sending it out.
100%. And then
that.
I put it through, I also captions as well. So sometimes like all the videos that we watch without sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there whatever, like they just kind of look at it, like, oh, read it. That's kind of cool. It's another step too, that you like put more effort to doing it versus like a quick text or whatever. So is more, how can you be memorable to someone that they will always go back to your text too, of like if you text them back or call them, it's gonna be that's gonna be there in their chain when you're going back and forth.
And now, are you finding them on social? Are you connecting with them there as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If they have it, of course.
Okay, cool.
Most people.
If they don't, then you're not like-minded.
You're like, no.
I don't know if I'm going to send this video.
But unless you're a principal and it happens, and okay, whatever.
Right.
I'll help you out.
That's cool. No, yeah, because really, that's where people are, right? So it's like, even your connections. Like, I love that I'm able, like, after I've met you, to now see what you're putting on your story. You're just listed, you're just sold, or the new things that you're doing from a content perspective. To be able to support that, I feel like if you're not doing that, like, you're kind of almost not relevant in a lot of ways, right?
Correct.
Your message isn't getting out. Email's still relevant. Are you doing a lot in that space? Like, after you meet someone, you strict with your database process there?
Yes, I need to get better, of course, with that. I don't have a team yet.
Yeah.
That could be coming up
that does that
soon.
back end stuff. Yeah.
Correct. Like, there's always so much you can do, and so you kind of like make sure you do at least a few things really well than trying to do everything mediocre.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
That's why I was like always told, like, hey, like if you can't do everything, you can't.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money to put a bunch of team to go behind to help you out, you got to figure out what is the best way for you to be able to keep on getting business, stay in front of people that are like-minded like you.
Right.
So when those deals come through at a left field or right field, like you are the person that they either bring you in or whisper in your ear, by the way, here's an off-market opportunity.
Here's a chair. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a really great message for our listeners too, is that, you can't, we used to say, like, in the corporate world, like, you can't boil the ocean, right?
Sure.
Like, and that's kind of like means like you can't do it all, right? It's like you have to pick and choose what you can really focus on, what you have the time to focus on, and then, to your point, do those things really well. And I think, like, having like self-management, right? As people say time management, but I think self-management is huge, right? Because you have the self-management and the self-discipline to say, I'm going to follow up after this event, and here's what I'm going to do, and here's how I'm going to do it. So I love that. What other superpowers do you want to share with us? Anything else that's a key component of just unlocking opportunities in business and everything that you've created so far in real estate?
Yeah, like it's all about, I would say, again, it's about the abundancy mindset. Have a collaborative mindset. Will get you so far you have no idea. Yeah. So if I could just hound those two things, if you can be in those, one, reach out to me. Yeah. And of course you, because that's how we immediately connected.
Yeah.
This is how we
just collaborate. How can we collaborate? How can we help each other?
Absolutely.
Right. And it's so smart that you're doing business that way. I had a a real estate developer on recently, and it was the same thing. Like, you can't do it all. You can only get so far alone. And some of the things I hear from successful professionals that have been on, that hopefully the audience is catching this too, is that there's some consistent like things that are always the same for all of us, right? Like, we always have to be ready to change. We always have to be ready. Like, there's no single moment where you've made it and that's it, right? It's like success isn't final and failure is not fatal. You have to keep reinventing yourself and keep reinventing yourself. The other thing is that you have to trust others, that you have to be able to work as a team with people, because there's only so far. If you have to control it all, if you have to have it all, well, you're only going to get so far.
Absolutely.
And I see you doing like all those things. Like this, you're just giving me all those reminders right now.
Yeah, it's like it's no fun to be at the top by yourself.
Yeah, right.
Like,
bring your crew with you.
100%.
Right?
Come on.
That's it.
Let's have a party.
Yeah. See,
I don't want to be by myself solo.
I agree. Well, I'm gonna remember that you said that when you have millions of followers in your next couple of videos. Yeah, I'm gonna remember. Hey, remember when you said that it's not fun up there by yourself? I see you on this private plane, and I'm not with you right now.
Here's a ladder. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks. Let me up there. It was a pleasure having you today.
And again, thank you so much.
You always bring the energy and the authenticity, and I know our audience is going to love it. And if you guys need Greg Sly for any of your commercial or residential needs, he's all over the place. You have all his contact information here in the description. Go check him out on Instagram, The Real Greg Sly.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks again for
so
coming.
Much fun.
This is fun, and thank you to this amazing studio. Right?
Oh
how great is this?
I am blown away of how like upscale and
legit.
Professional. Like this is
legit.
This
right?
is like
I know,
pretty awesome. Like wow.
Coming live from it feels like ABC, NBC studios or something, right?
Yeah, and like their backstory is like super cool and like
is.
very. I don't know. You definitely need to come check out this place.
Yeah, we're giving shout outs still, because the sponsors are coming all next year. So from now on, it's shout out central over here.
Exactly. You only have a few more months.
That's it. Black Swallowtail Studios, guys, and Greg Sly. We're so excited to have you here today, and have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.